Welcome back to the podcast. Today we're going to talk to Hélène Verheyer, who's really going to help us find that internal energy, that one inside of us that's already connected to all that is. I'm excited about this podcast. She's going to help us kind of reconnect to that knowing that we are. Helen, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
When we look at this rat race of a world, all running around like little hairless monkeys, sometimes we're exhausted and just forget, where we are and what we have already in us, right? There's a lot of us kind of walking around feeling like we're missing or broken. What causes that with us?
I believe that everything is already inside of you, that you only have to remember, that you have to reconnect with that inner knower, that endless power. So stop playing small by consciously deciding to stop and look at it from a different perspective.
I was watching some guys talk about meditation this week, and they were like, look, it's literally the easiest thing to do, right? You could go to a hot tub and relax and, get in a hot tub and, all right, you sit in a hot tub for 10 or 15 or 20 minutes. Great relaxing. But it's not easier than meditating, right? Just stopping and slowing down and getting centered. Meditating is like a really easy thing to slow down. And maybe sometimes a meditation doesn't have to be a big ordeal where sometimes when I think of meditating, I think of like, I need to be a yogi. I need to think how to be a, I need to do some sort of weird practices, but what do you mean by slow down and stop? Yoga or a meditation?
No, for me, of course, there's many different meditation practices, but for me, it's just being still, being present with yourself. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to track your thoughts like clouds passing by. You just need to be present, because in the presence, in the stillness, without the distractions of all the things around you, you will reconnect with you, with your true nature. And that's basically, so it is not difficult. The only thing is stopping and really being still with you. That is the difficult thing, but it's not about the doing that is the difficult. Just hang out with yourself, basically.
It was funny. I was in Nepal a year and a half ago, and it was these monks, and they're like, look, you don't get it. You guys are addicted to doing, right? You're like literally addicted to it. And I'm like, no, I can relax. He's like, yeah, go ahead, try. He's like, well, how do I relax? It's like, just relax. Like all of a sudden to relax or to just be, I had to do something to be. He's like, no, see what I'm talking about? You're looking for something to do. It's just like just be. And
Yeah.
like, that's like a foreign thought to me. I know most of us feel the same way.
It is. We're not used to it because we are so. It's like what you say, an addiction to do something or to get input from the outside. But that keeps you away from who you are and from even empowering yourself. That's what I believe, that this reconnection, even it's only 5 minutes a day, to center, to be present without, allowing everything there to be. You will have thoughts, you will have emotions, you might have physical sensations, but just stopping, not doing anything.
It's one of the things that I sometimes wish I could literally tattoo on the inside of my eyelids is don't underestimate the value of one conscious breath, right? Just stay in the moment, take a deep breath, just relax. You could be going 100 miles an hour in a day, and there's times when my day goes so fast, right? We're in this amazing space in civilization right now where things are going really, really fast. And every once in a while, just to take a deep breath and just stop and get my mind back to where my feet are, right?
Yeah.
And kind of just get centered back again.
Exactly that. And breathing can be one thing, touching can be one thing, but break a pattern, because the pattern is that we are like fueling ourselves with joining this rat race. And it's kind of, we have the stupid idea that that will satisfy us.
No, I mean, look, we're definitely trained to, and maybe it's even part of the human condition, right? There's kind of this unsatisfaction that I carry as a human, right? There's kind of, I'm always feeling like, you set a goal to go somewhere, right? And then you get there and I'm like, well, I guess that's it. It's like, it's never quite satisfying, no matter what it is I'm trying to do, or whatever goal I have. And it's not like out of maybe it's not gratitude or something, but I'll set these goals for myself, and I know others do the same thing, where we set these goals and we're like, go, 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 go. But then you get there and it's kind of like,
And it's probably not, I don't believe, I mean, goal setting is one thing, but if you are with a goal and you are just chasing in a way that goal, and you're not enjoying the journey, you cannot be present, you cannot see what unfolds right in front of you. I mean, there might be many roads towards that goal, but if you have your mind fixed on one particular road, you don't see the other options anymore. And that you can only see if you stop, because then the breadcrumbs basically are right in front of you. And there might be a much shorter road, or a much more fun road, or a more exciting road, whatever. This continuous doing keeps you away from the present moment. And I think the problem is more there than the goal as such.
right. When I'm not present, right, that go, 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 go mentality, I can relate to that. Like, I feel that, right? All right, slow down, uh, spend a little time thinking, right?
Yeah, and remember the moments where you were really, or maybe are really present. If you bring that back, I mean, during recordings of these podcasts,
No, no, for sure.
it's you are present with what there is, and the more you can be present in the conversation, the more beautiful the conversation will turn out.
Right.
And you see the benefit of being present.
That's interesting, right? Just being with someone, not trying to do or lead it, just being present in the conversation.
Yeah. And now
Interesting.
I feel the energy changing.
Yeah.
Now we're at that topic. I mean, and that is what happens. It is it my yeah. I don't know whether you know this, but my body senses the energy easily. Also on a distance we are at now, uh, and I feel energy changing. If you and I mean, it's for me the same, of course. If we can just be present with what there is, I mean, we have the conceptual belief, you and I, that everything will be exactly the way it should be. We will, the things, the words will come that need to come. But if we can, from that conceptual knowing that that will happen, to really to like translate it into our physical being, our presence, our body being here in this time-space coordinate, then things start changing.
Mm.
And it will be a different experience. And I feel the different energy then if we move from more the mind to like into our bodies. And then we can bring, I mean, that's the only way and the only place where we can actually do things that have the most impact. That's how, at least how I feel.
No, look, I think you're right. It's right on in that, there's like on a cellular level, when I've been with people where we slow down and look, even when we go fast, it's like you can be with people in a way that has you be so present to them and what's going on, that, yeah, look, fast or slow or no matter what it is, you're like in tuned, right? Like there's a tuning that happens with you. It's almost like at a cellular level, right? You ever been there where, and I think a lot of that, in order to be present, right, to really be there in the moment, right? There's some other practices I have to do to be present, right? Because a lot of times for me, I carry, all this stuff, the thoughts, actions, what I got to get done. Well, right, I'll be carrying this to-do list, or Um, and the more I can release that, right, more of that stuff where I'm not in that space at the moment, right, where I could be present to you. And sometimes it's other things, like sometimes it's fears or anxieties, or sometimes it's resentments, right? Those are things that will check me right out. And I have a hard time breaking through that to get present for an idea.
Yeah, and I would like set the invitation to also be okay with having this grocery list and having this to-do list for tonight, and not pushing it away, because if you push it away, you also don't allow yourself to be present with you. If you identify with it, it's the same thing. So it's going to the, I mean, it's a bit in this neutral area where you, I mean, it's okay that that is part of you, but it's also, as soon as you attach to it, it means you think something should change. And that is also like a kind of a dangerous place. If you can just be, again, there, be still and be present with it, then you really show up in the now.
That's interesting, right? Like, so let's get a little bit more on that, because I'm not sure I have the full. I don't think I've got that, because most of the time I feel like in order to be completely present, at least my practice today is that I need to deal with those things that are taking me out, or at least acknowledge them, that they're there, right? Maybe I can't deal with them 100%, but acknowledge that, okay, this thought or behavior or anxiety or resentment or whatever it is, right? There's a laundry list of things that could take me out of my present moment, right? It's almost like my brain uh, wants to deal with those, and instead of just being present in the moment, it wants to go deal with those, and all of a sudden I'm checked out. So what's how do we get there? How do we get to that place where, even with that list, even with that laundry list, how do we get to a place where I can be I can be?
Yeah, I think it's how to explain that. I think in the in the beginning it is a similar thing as how many people would approach a meditation, to really just stop doing what you did as soon as you feel that it is not aligned. As soon as you feel that you have these like repetitive thoughts or fears, if you let them unnoticed, they will like carry you away. If you can just physically stop, and for some people it's like stopping from running, and for other people it's like getting some action, as in moving, but basically that doesn't really matter. Um, if you can like break the pattern of something that is happening, and then you will start also raising your awareness of what is happening, and then just be still with what there is. And I mean, it is not a bad thing to have these fears, because we all have these fears. They are, when they are dictating you, or you allow them to dictate you, then we're having a different story. But just be present with these fears, and now I use fears as an example, but just be present with that and feel, allow them to be there, because with the neutral position, not rejecting them, not accepting them, but the neutral position, they will be seen, and then the energy will move, the energy will transmute. That is how it works in our most pure connection with ourselves. It is a process that just always is always already happening, but we have these at the different levels of our system, we have these thoughts, emotions, etc., that we allow to dictate us, whether it's accepting or rejecting. Not
Yeah,
sure whether this was more clear.
no, I got it. Like I've noticed that, like if I'm carrying something, right? If I walk into a room, and I'm, let's say that I was in a meet, like just like before the podcast today, I was in a meeting right before I walked into the podcast studio, And I literally have to go through and really evoke presence, right? It's not something that happens naturally. Like, cause I feel like that energy from the meeting I was in, the people that I was with, maybe it's almost like a smell or a fart or something. I don't know. They travel with you, right? It's like
Yeah.
this energy that clings on to you. In order to be present, I have to like really evoke presence, right? I have to get to the place where we release that energy from where I was to get to the moment where I am today, to where I am now, right? To be in this now moment, fully and completely. That takes, I've invoked a few practices to get me there, right? A little bit of the work that we did right before we started. We kind of do a small meditation, right? Just a place that says, okay, I'm releasing what I carried, and I'm going to be present. I do the same when we do work with. I do a lot of work with men's groups where we get together on a weekly basis, and before we really create the container, right? Because we're really to like we're doing a podcast, we create a container, right, where the two of us are going to be present in the moment to really come up with some great topics. So sometimes I've noticed that in creating that container, right, so that we can all be present. So we as a group, the men in that group that night, right, can be there completely um, outside of the things they carried into the world, and maybe even help deal with themselves, right? Where I can do good work, right, on myself as an individual, right, when I can be present. So I think there's some value to creating the presence, right?
Yeah.
To get, yeah.
Yeah, and that's basically what I mean with this first step, that you need to stop. Like you say, you transition from your meeting to the podcast. There is something, I mean, if you just continue running from one meeting to the other, there's no stopping and there's no ability to reset. And if you find yourself, I think this is all, everyone needs to feel what works for them, but you set a practice also with your men's groups. You have a practice that helps you to like recenter, get back to you, get back to the current place. That is stopping, that is breaking a pattern of like jumping from one meeting to the other meeting. And at some point you can be just present with you, but it's not, yeah, it doesn't go. You need to break a pattern. You need to stop and decide, hey, I wanna create a space for like another group, another person, another podcast. This is something you can consciously decide, but you need to do it.
Yeah, no, I got it. Have you tried any of the other, like, what are some of the things that you do for, um, in this practice, right? From thinking to being, what
Yeah.
are the things that some of the gifts that you give the people that you work with, right? What's some of the
Well,
stuff that you work on?
yeah, I work basically. It's you can divide it into pillars. Basically, one is raising awareness. Um, if you, I give mentorship and I give retreats, and in both cases, I facilitate a space. I'm a space holder for people really to stop and to create their own space to start reflecting. And that will, I mean, I guide them in awareness practices, whether it's, well, mental or health or whatever it is. But the other thing, what basically my gift is to work with energy and to really, how I see it, my body works as a catalyst to transmute energy. And as a former scientist, because I've been working for 25 years in the scientific research field with a PhD, that I entered a whole new world. I mean, from the tangible to the things we cannot see, I started learning how I can use my own being, basically, in supporting other people to transmute energetic blockages.
Wow.
And that is extremely powerful, but it's also, of course, not something that is like written out in books or like the structure you can really see something. But I've experienced now with all my clients the enormous impact there, and that is So that's the second pillar, basically, which is my talent to really help people to break through these energetic blockages and help them remember. And then we tie back probably to the very first sentences we had, to remember that everything is within them, because you have every wisdom, every knowledge you have, and all the power you have in you. And running and keep on doing for the sake of doing will keep you away from that inner knowing and that inner knowledge. And that is what I help people to like reconnect with.
That's awesome. Talk to me about one of the works that you do. How does it come together? Is it a weekend? Is it a day seminar? Talk to me about how you put them together.
Yeah, the mentorship is a 90-day online program. So 3 months where we meet live online twice a week. And you get my program From Thinking to Being. There's mentorship, there's energy transformation sessions. So these are people from across the world. And my retreats can be private retreats, can be group retreats, and all are between 3 and 5 days. It's always multiple
Nice.
day, because I really feel the power in first systems need to adjust, you need to ground, you need to open up for the space, and we can go to deeper and deeper levels in the following day. So I always do multiple days because I see the power of that. And people change to an extent which goes beyond the mind.
It's interesting when you do this kind of work. So talk to me about so how do they start? Was it, so let's say you've got a 3 or 5 day program. Give me a little bit about how does it start? What does it look like? What would I go through if I were to join? Which, by the
Basically,
way, where's your next one? I want to come do it.
A private retreat you can book anytime. I'm available, so more than welcome. That goes we just check agendas, and you can do that all the time. For the private retreats, I don't have a fixed program. I tailor it to everyone's needs. How it works is we meet online the first time. We first see whether we are a match, whether we resonate. Then I will just send you my PDF with all the sessions I basically can give, the tools I have. If you resonate with that and you decide to book, we have 3 online sessions before the retreat, and then we have a retreat of, usually it's private retreats, usually 4 days. And when you arrive here physically, then we just sit together and see what session is the best for you right now. And that is how we go through the day. There's an unlimited amount of sessions, but we
Just give me an example one. Give me like an example of one that
my
we might do.
most powerful one is what I call an energetic head treatment. You basically lay down on your back, fully clothed. I cover you with a blanket, and you just close your eyes. And I touch your head. It's not like massage or washing hair, it's just touching. And with that touch, it gives a mental reset.
Wow.
So yeah, I usually say I'm specialized in giving transformational mental resets, because that will release and first transmute, but then release the energy that is blocked in your system. And these it's a session of about, depends a bit, but let's say an hour. And I see the look in the people's eyes. It's completely different before and
Yeah.
after. And that is basically the most powerful session. But we also have more body work. I even guide plant medicine sessions, from cacao to magic truffle, so psilocybin.
Oh, wow.
That's one part.
Yeah, can you go through a journey on one of the psilocybin journey,
Yes, yes,
and you'll guide us through that?
yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful, powerful plant medicine. I mean, the energetic work also happens without psilocybin ceremonies, but it is definitely an add-on.
Do you do those in multiple days also?
I do these in the private retreats. Yeah. So, and then you have one session with psilocybin.
Oh, nice. And where are these at? Are they on a farm or in a city or in a
No,
hotel
it's
or?
currently they are at my own property. I live close to Utrecht, which is the center of the Netherlands. And I have a cottage in my backyard, and people stay there in a private space. They have their own bedroom, bathroom, little kitchen, and there we do the ceremonies, and I facilitate everything. So basically, it's unlimited sessions. Everything is included, and 4 days you're completely immersed in the space of energetic transformation. Um, yeah, I love to do it, and I get well, people are so happy with the transformations they go through, and they really feel so much lighter when they leave, and that's what I do it for.
That's amazing. Look, I think that's a gift that you give the world, right? Your ability to really do transformation with people and bring them to a space where, look, let's just get off this hamster wheel for a minute and find that space that reconnects with the I am in me, right? The one that's in me that knows,
Yeah.
all knowing, all, you know.
Yeah, and reconnect with that, and also with that, they remember more like, what is it that I want? What is my next move? They get more clarity.
Mm.
They get more confidence to take a next move, and it's always opening the space. For me, it's like opening the space for them to remember. I'm not the one telling go left, go right. They will remember their inner wisdom and what serves them. And that's the most powerful because it gets back to their own. I mean, take the responsibility for your own happiness and how do you want to live your life?
That's amazing. Helen, I got to tell you right now, I want to book one of these to come down there. I'm not sure about the psilocybin yet. I've heard a lot of good stuff about it, but does that really break through some mental stuff? Have you seen some transformational stuff with the psilocybin?
Yes, but also without.
Oh, good.
So let's just be very clear. It is something, if you resonate with it, perfect. If not, it is not needed. I mean, this energy work I can provide and hold a space for you is so powerful that we don't need psilocybin. But if
I
you resonate with it, it is something else. Yeah.
I've been drug free and alcohol free for many years. And I always said, I don't know that I'd ever want to put another, something in me. Maybe every once in a while when I go for some sort of surgery or something, I'll let a doctor, uh, you minute some out. But my real one is, stay present, stay conscious. I think the gift of consciousness is something we forget about, right? This rat race of a world runs us around,
Yeah.
and we may be the only conscious beings in the entire universe, right? There may be nothing else but us. And every once in a while, I think we forget what a gift it is to be conscious. And so many of us are struggling, and to get back to that place of consciousness, to reconnect with the most beautiful light that's in us. Trainers like you really do a great job of doing that. Very interesting to do that. So a 3 or 5 day seminar, spend some time with you going through that.
Yeah, it's the private retreats are mostly 4 days because then we can include the psilocybin journey. As said, it's not necessary, but it can be included. So that's private retreat. For the group retreats, I currently have no openings, but there will be a new option. I'm just deciding on a location, which will be somewhere in Europe, probably in the fall. And the mentorship is every new group. A new group starts every month. So if people are interested in that, and then I will really guide people through 3 shifts from unhealthy habits to mindful routines, from external chaos to inner clarity, and from what is the other one? To bring in more confidence to take the next step. So it's really a program which small groups, very powerful, and then online. So yeah, easier for people to join if you're not close.
Well, I got a couple of good ideas for you. I know a place in Florence I've been working on that I think would be a great place for your retreat. We'll have to talk about that offline, but
Yeah.
excited about what you do. I will put all the contact information down below. If people want to get a hold of you and have you come do some work with them, or come to you and do some work with you, what is the best way for them to catch up with you?
Probably connect via LinkedIn is an option.
Okay.
And otherwise, if you want more information, my website is also up to date and you can find more. But if you connect with me via LinkedIn, I can give you like a short session to get to know me without any obligations. I really love to connect with people because that is where the power is, but in the connection between two people. So I have 3 options to just connect with me and see. I can give you some more clarity for free, just to provide value to the world, because that is my goal for 2025, to really provide value, opening up, showing up.
Well, you are a gift and you do add value. Just being on this podcast, I can just feel my whole body change just spending the time I spent with you during this podcast. Folks, I'll make sure that all of the connection points for Helen are down below. You'll have the link to her LinkedIn connection point to her website, and we'll have the connections on how to meet up with her. Hélène Verheyer, I'm so grateful for you to be here. Your energy is amazing. The gift you are to this planet is wonderful. Thanks for being on today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Same. Hey, audience members, last week, another record-breaking week from all of you. We had 64,500 downloads on YouTube alone. It was amazing how many people we had on there, how many guests we had on there. But I noticed that a lot of you got through the podcast and still weren't subscribers. If you could take a second and like and subscribe right now, it means the world to us. And the people in the background. It helps us get great speakers like Helen to come join us. Those numbers do make the difference for people where they want to go and be on a podcast. So if you could take a second and do that now, I'd be so grateful. All of us would be. Joe and Alyssa and the whole team in the background that work really hard to put this together. So if you could take a second and do that now, I'd be grateful. And as always, thanks for listening.